EISKALT guide, which is exactly what everyone needed. Now in this one, I'm going to be telling you everything you must know about EISKALT. So what are we waiting for? Let's get into it. EISKALT's few abilities are highly damaging and others are just for stalling purposes. The first one is just alright, it truly doesn't matter. Then there is Ice Peak, which you will utilize to deal damage the most of the time. Then it's slowing, and then it's offensive, which is applied on opponent's side. Let's start off with talking about EISKALT, and EISKALT is probably one of the best dragons to use in the game. Not just dragons, but the heroes in the game. He is very much powerful. Not only that, he's good with stalling enemies, and there are a few things which you should take care while using EISKALT. So let's talk about that first. First of all, EISKALT is going to be very much counterable when an opponent is sending anything which is flyer. For an example, the dragon, the goblin balloons, or anything which is flying is just going to be countering EISKALT's potential by a huge. So what you need the most is not the ground control, but what you need the most is air control compared to any other hero. So always have something which can take out flyers a lot much more faster, and of course it depends. It's going to be rather your mage tower or the archer tower, depending on what booster or what enemy is flying. So based on that, you can actually strategize and make sure to take out the flyers first and last. What can you use with EISKALT? Well, EISKALT is a dragon which would probably make sense with no matter what deck it is. So you can just pick any meta deck or any deck which works and use EISKALT with it. That is the Blazing Gem strat, whether that's a Mage Mayhem deck which I created, any other deck than that which is actually in meta, good. But what EISKALT is best at is slowing down enemies and it doing damage. So of course he's a great hero, so that's going to be helpful a lot. Few of the most which he's really good in is basically an all-rounder at the game at the moment. He's counterable, he has counters, but they're quite RNG dependent. For an example, Musketeers, Blazing Gem, and Tesla Stun. These are few of the things which actually counter EISKALT, but don't forget that there is possibility that you can counter it. So having these towers can actually help you counter EISKALT too. But at the end of the day, these are few of the decks which I personally love using with EISKALT, and here it is. Basically, I use EISKALT in one lane. He is needed the most. Wherever I need stalling the most, wherever I need the damage the most, I usually prefer to not micro too much with EISKALT, as it can disrupt his reload speed, which will get a bad trade, when even if it means one extra hit or one less hit, it quite matters a lot in games like these, which can be also a defining factor at the end of the day. So having EISKALT as a non-microable hero is what I would consider, unless or until you see your EISKALT getting damaged, you will pull him off. You will start to micro him as much as possible. I like to keep him in one lane and just let him dominate that lane to the end, and then that is basically it. If you think about it, Ashbite sometimes does succeed in countering EISKALT if barracks are not used. That is very rare to see, yet it is a possibility. Using EISKALT is definitely a meta thing at the moment. You can just use him and get the best value out of him if you're using a good deck. But always remember, a good deck is needed. If you're using a bad deck, EISKALT becomes bad. So here are a few of the decks which I personally love using with EISKALT. EISKALT goes on with almost everything in the game at this point, but using some meta decks will help you a lot, and these are a few of the decks which I love to use. Two of them are actually mid-game and end-game decks, and one of them is free-to-play deck which everyone can actually afford it. The decks which I have suggested are made to be used anything about Stormcloud Mountains. In Stormcloud Mountains you unlock EISKALT basically at the end, so it's not really needed to made for specifically Stormcloud Mountains. Anything about that is basically you need it. Actually suggested we're gonna use this deck. This is completely free to play friendly. I have used Arcane. If you want to, you may prefer to use Archmage because it's better than Arcane in the meta. I prefer Arcane, and that is the reason why I am using it. I'm in Stadium, so if I get myself into arenas like Forsaken Valley, I prefer Arcane always. So that is one of the reasons why I'm using it, and let's get ourselves into a game. Alright, the opponent is using Magnus Spellbane. Now over here I would say and tell you, if you don't have Thunderbolt, you may consider using Rain of Fire. Rain of Fire is still fine, and I have showed most of the decks with Blazing Gem. There is a reason behind it. Blazing Gem requires stalling, and what you get the best out of these decks is stalling. Stalling is very great when it comes to EISKALT, so you always put EISKALT on top when it comes to stalling enemies. So that is one of the reasons, I guess. I'm just gonna start off with just freezing that Smasher and getting rid of him ASAP. You don't need any of the shenanigans happening. Just stun him. Over here I'm gonna get myself a Tesla and here a Druid. And then I'm gonna use the Thunder just right there so I can take out the enemies and let my EISKALT do all of the job. Here I'm gonna build another one of these because why not? Perfect. So as far as you're using EISKALT, you're not gonna face any difficulties in any other arena except Forsaken Valley. Forsaken Valley, no matter what hero you're using, you're gonna see some difficulties being faced. Okay, he's definitely not using any barrack. I can go with ambushers. Screeching Bat is okay, but I think ambushers are quite better than it at the moment, according to the situation, of course. So we're gonna start with that. I'm just gonna let EISKALT do the job for as long as he can and just upgrade this. And of course I'm gonna polymorph that guy. Why not? Okay, he got the good one. Oh my god, that is actually so annoying. He got the goated booster against me. That is not a good one. And yeah, also that booster actually counters EISKALT. So if you ever face a EISKALT opponent, this is how you actually counter him. Okay. And also, if you need any, don't just feel anything bad while using barracks, I guess. Barracks are really good, especially when you're using barbarians. So barbarians are definitely worth using. And if you don't want to, and if you're a confident person like me, you can just use rocket gunners. I know what I can pull off with rocket gunners, and I just use them regardless of what anyone thinks. I'm trying to max out ambushers unless I face or get something more better, I guess. Until there I'm not choosing anything else. Okay, I was a little bit late with the polymorph ability, I guess. It could have been better if I go for a different approach, but it is what it is. This is all I can do now. Oh god. Okay, he also got ambushers. That's so awesome. Oh, great. Okay, I have polymorph. I'm gonna polymorph him so bad at the moment. And just I literally didn't notice that. Okay, that was scary. I'm not a big fan of it, and it needs to be taken out. Oh god. That was annoying, but I think I'm gonna win here. Am I gonna win here? Hope I do. Revenge is best served cold. I don't think I'm gonna win, but that's a bot. I can already tell you that, but let's see. Fear freezes you. Okay, well played. And of course, as an EISKALT player and someone who is in higher, I'm gonna thumbs him down. Sorry if that was a real player. I really didn't mean to do that to you. But if it was a bot, I truly don't care. Unless they take over the world, then I'm gonna be the first target that bot's gonna pick. So simple as it is, use EISKALT according to lane. Whatever lane you need more damage and stalling, choose him in that lane, let him stay in that lane, and micro him according to the conditions. I mean, microing is gonna be important regardless of no matter what hero you're using. But EISKALT is something you would use to just slow down even for a little bit while you can just micro EISKALT. And if you see something flying dying, EISKALT is just going to get distracted from it and start attacking it. Regardless of any other dragon, he also does the same. So that is something what you always need to take care of while using EISKALT. That's everything. So yeah, I hope you found this one helpful. If you did, consider subscribing for more quality Prahant gaming. Until there, keep on rushing.